Training camp is afoot, so we're going to take a run through the training camp news that I think matters most. Of course, another Best Ball Mania draft for $1.5 million to first place. We're going to take it down, guys. I feel it happening. We're building good draft after good draft. Let's see what we can do today. Of course, I'm all in a draft room here. Today, I'll be drafting in the 11 hole, a spot where many times over we've seen the drafter in the 11 hole get Puka Nacua and Marvin Harrison. Could today be the day I get my first share of it? I think we know the answers to that. It's going to be a resounding no. We'll find out in a little bit here. Training camp news, though, we'll hit it right and hard and heavy. I always say hard and heavy instead of hot and heavy up top here. It's going to hit it hard, though. Jameson Williams looking strong in camp, caught a TD amidst puking, apparently, according to him, due to eating the wrong things at breakfast. So that's a big news item for Jameson Williams, that he eats disgusting things, including putting McFlurry on a McDonald's hamburger. That's the most repulsive thing you'll find. I think he also puts, like, cheese dip on top of Fritos and eats it. Things you shouldn't be doing when you're an elite athlete. That said, did throw up at practice. Looked good, though. Rave reviews from pretty much every beat reporter who was at the Lions practice. Kendre Miller left practice with a hamstring issue. The hamstring issue, not great. Dennis Allen, though, saying he needs to be healthy to make the team. Doubly not great. Felt like he was just impatient, tired of Kendre Miller being on the sidelines, being hurt. Of course, coming in initially with the injury that he sustained in college. And then last year got banged up amidst that as well. Banged up again this year. It doesn't seem good for Kendre. I would anticipate him getting probably a double count there because of the injury and him looking bad in practice, getting really bad coach speak, and also it being covered pretty aggressively. If I had to guess, I think that it would be a thing where he goes 10 spots down, maybe 15 spots down. I'm at 6% in BBM, so I'm not thrilled, but yeah, I think if you're about where I am, just dial it back. Take him a little bit cheaper if you still want to buy in there. All right, Garrett Wilson goes. Let's see, guys, what happens when we take Puka Nacua? What happens? Does neutralized here? What do they do at the turn? This could be a big moment here. There's news being made on training camp that we're talking about. Is there news being made in this draft? Do you believe in miracles? Oh, he's got to really soak up the clock on this one, isn't he? Nah, come on. Come on. Come the fuck on. Every fucking draft, somebody is getting Puka and MHJ, and it's right fucking here. Oh, motherfuck. I'm going to go Olave here. I've got a lot of fucking Drake London. Would like to get more Olave. Damn it. Just rip my soul out. Rip my heart out. This is my last resort. It's not a ha-ha. I can't, it's right. I can't have nice things. Sam Darnold thumbnail swallowing vomit. Or are you Jameson Williams? Inches from greatness. Yeah, fucking every stream, man. Tim left David Maddox live to watch mine. If that makes a difference, I appreciate it, Tim. I'll take the kindnesses wherever I can get them. Fuck, man. It would have been really worth it if you skipped the live and I made history here with my first share of Puka and MHJ. And nope, no dice. Other news items. Javonte Williams slimmed down, looks good. Thought Sean Payton's specific word choice is interesting. Said he's proud of him for losing the weight that they asked him to lose because they felt like he looked better at a lower weight in college and his first year in the NFL as well. So Javonte, good reports for him. Apparently had some bursts, looked good in camp. I still think ultimately this is a long-term bet on Audric Estime winning that role. I still feel good about that bet, but Javonte's, doing a thing the coach asks you to do, always an important part of the kind of shit that makes coaches like you more and trust you more. So for what it's worth, Javonte doing what he has to do. And for me, as an Audric Estime believer, still think I would like to get to 8% Javonte. That we'll see where his ADP starts to land with the bad news and now good news coming in. Good camp days by Jacoby Brissett and the thumbnail man, Sam Darnold, including Justin Jefferson raving about Sam Darnold after a long play that went his way. Don't know that it matters too much over the long term, but I still have concerns for both J.J. McCarthy and Drake May that they do play. Drake May, though, did have a highlight reel throw to Jalen Naylor that you probably saw on Twitter. He was mostly inaccurate, though, besides that. And that's really the big concern for me. Part of why I think Drake May has a harder time hitting the field for a team like the Patriots until things go completely to shit is that he was really inaccurate in college last year. It's a thing that people don't pay enough attention to, I believe. Not on target as much as the other guys, especially compared to Jaden. Even compared to J.J. McCarthy, even compared to Caleb, all those guys. Penix, too, I think, ahead of him as well. Accuracy is something that does rear its ugly head in practice sessions a little bit more. And if you're not accurate in practice, that's when you don't see the great playing time. But also in games, obviously, you expect the guy to be inaccurate there as well. Kyron Williams going a little bit earlier than usual. Some positive steam from him, I believe. Quotes from Sean McVay coming out about him basically being the guy that they're going to give probably a little more workload than they should until they get to an opportunity where they feel like they can use him less. So maybe easing some people's concerns about there. Would not be shocking to see Kyron come back up to the 2-3 turn. Other news items, Mike Gesicki working with the first team, targeted heavily to start the Bengals session from blonde-haired Joe Burrow. So positive signal again for Gesicki, including previously one of the beat reporters speculating maybe based on some team items that they knew that Gesicki was going to play big slot a little bit more. So Gesicki being used, I think he's draftable now. Probably comes up to the 17th, honestly. Deontay Johnson being heavily targeted by Bryce Young. Dave Canales highlighted him as a weapon they want to feature. Good signal there for Bryce Young and honestly, obviously Deontay, but like for Bryce too, being tethered to Deontay, feeding him early, establishing a rapport. These are things that just give Bryce more of a floor to his play and obviously a ceiling if he hits and then like it actually starts catching balls. Thielen stays upright. Mingo had a couple decent plays in camp apparently. So I don't know. I believe in Dave Canales. Seems like not bad signal so far for Carolina. Jalen Hurts acknowledging reports that he and Nick Sirianni were not on the same page in 2023, which was something speculated out there. Even some viral clips went around of Jalen Hurts making faces, seeing Nick Sirianni be a goofball when Jalen Hurts wants to be serious. But he says they're in a good place now or a great place now is the exact quote. I think the great place might be more that it's Kellen Moore calling the offensive plays. Jalen Hurts recognizes he's going to produce a lot in this offense. That's going to help ease a lot of things there. But Sirianni, I would say, kind of on thin ice if things don't work out well. With the guys they hired at offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator. Let's see. Watch your draft yesterday after work. I thought it was hilarious how badly you wanted Kendry, but he eluded you. Yeah, it's true. It worked out well. Sometimes the fates give us what we need. All right, I'm on the clock here. Speaking of the fates giving us what we need. Stephon Diggs being here. Don't mind him. Good camp so far for him. Nico looking good as well. Laporta, elite tight end. Derrick Henry, a little bit of a discount on him. Let's see if this guy takes Derrick Henry. Don't think he should, obviously having one RB already on his team. But if not, we'll get Henry back at even. No, right, he takes Henry. So it's not a great move for him. Works out fine for me. We have the Rams, New Orleans, Houston. At this point, nothing correlation-wise I think we want to set up yet. Laporta as elite tight end, never really going to be an issue for me. Unlikely we get McBride all the way back. Pacheco, cut up my Pacheco here. This is a tough one. I'm going to go Pacheco. I would like to get to 8% Pacheco. Think he's a good play. We do have KC Houston in week 16 for a little bit of a tiebreaker there. Would have taken Derrick Henry if he came back to me, so that might have gotten my brain going RB a little bit more. But team so far, Puka Nacua, no Marvin Harrison Jr. If you want to go and witness me dying on screen again, you can see that. You get Chris Olave instead. Stephon Diggs, a little bit of discount. Pacheco, a little bit ahead of ADP. So nothing too unique right now. Accuracy and decision-making are the most important attributes for success in real life, however, in fantasy. As long as he's slinging it and running a bit, you can pay off ADP with late-season production. Not sure what we're talking about. I should have probably read that before pulling it up. But it was a long one, and I wanted Caruso and Strategic to feel valued. Other news items, all the mains Bill receivers have merits in camp, but Curtis Samuel, Khalil Shakir mostly look the best, and also Khalil Shakir playing primarily out of the slot. So that does mean that Khalil Shakir and Dalton Kincaid a little bit running in loggerheads if you are making the bet for them on the same team. Obviously, for guys to have their full upside, you want to see them having as many routes as possible. Khalil Shakir and Dalton Kincaid having some of their best production coming out of the slot would mean that they're probably competing against each other a little bit for targets. Dalton Kincaid also still splitting snaps with Dawson Knox, so it's not a thing where he has passed them up. I would not be shocked if Kincaid comes down a little bit in ADP because these are not great news items for the people that do love Dalton Kincaid. Mac Hollins also running evenly in terms of the amount of routes with Keon Coleman. Still think Keon Coleman is in a perfectly fine situation. Had one really great highlight catch that I guess the referee at camp ruled out, but Josh Allen was fighting, saying it was in. Photos looked like it was in, but Keon Coleman being a red zone threat has been sort of the thesis of the play for me because I don't think his talent's that huge, but I think he is going to be the best red zone threat they have. I think that's working out okay for Keon Coleman. Being in the mix with the ones, also good for Keon Coleman. And the last thing I have on my sheet, which, by the way, you get my preseason update sheet. If you do join the channel, $4.99 a month. I dropped in the VIP Discord yesterday, so check it out if you want to see my updates. And I keep them in there, too, where I'm keeping them every day. I'll just add a new section in, basically. But the last one that I had to note because people think it was real, Trey Palmer isn't actually dating nor hooking up with Sydney Sweeney. She's engaged, and that was made by a Buccaneers fan account on Twitter. So don't take that one to merit. Don't go Trey Palmer's, boost the ADP ranks, drop the ADP ranks. He's not going to be angry. Trey Palmer not actually hooking up with Sydney Sweeney. And I have to say that out loud. Brett in here again. Brett, I didn't notice you, but there you go. There you go. All right, you got Sam Laporte at 44. Good for you. Hey, stay out of my way. I'll stay out of yours, Brett, but glad to see you in here. Hope you have a clean draft and that you stay away. You're talking about Drake May. There you go. Don't do the MMG draft. Snipe Fest at the end. I was cornered in taking Flacco. To be clear, I don't think you're ever cornered in taking Flacco. Most drafts are Snipe Fest. It's still up to you how you handle it. Obviously, if things get a little dire, then it's up to you to start to take guys a little bit earlier, to go get your Will Levis backdoor, your Derek Carr backdoor, whatever you have to. Bo Nix backdoor. A lot of different ways to go. McLaurin at 55. Really, do you think as Commanders camp goes on, that's going to come up? Positive reviews for Jaden Daniels. Again, I mentioned yesterday because it was in the morning session. Throwing a lot of touchdowns. He apparently played infinitely better than Marcus Mariota, are the reports. So things were looking good for him. Okay. A little bit of a discount on Ridley. Xavier Worthy probably on the way up, though he has been sick and out of practice now for 3 days in a row. I'll take Ridley. I obviously more than enough Will Levis, but would like to get more true Tennessee, more of the real premium Tennessee double if I can get it. So we'll see if we get it here. AR goes. Go nuts. And Xavier Worthy goes. All right, so we'll get the Tennessee double here with DeAndre Hopkins. Unfortunately, we do not have any Jacksonville stuff coming back. But we do have, we got nothing for Tennessee right now in terms of week 16 or 17 correlation. But the team so far, Isaiah Pacheco at RB. Again, want to get my exposure up there. Still think he could be coming up, even though the Kadarius Toney playing RB, pass-catching RB. Not great news necessarily for him. Puka Nacua, Chris Olave, Stephon Diggs, Calvin Ridley, and DeAndre Hopkins. I really do think that this Tennessee double, tacking them onto anything, is a fun one to me. I know people are down on Ridley's year last year. Look, he wasn't fantastic. Still perfectly usable, still perfectly in the mix in terms of what he did in Jacksonville. Now he's got an offense with theoretically better coaching, higher pass rate we'd expect as well for Tennessee. I think those are all good things benefiting both guys here. A little bit old, though. A little bit old. 13 months of e-draftulating with the Squirt Squad. Shout out Robert Griffin III. Shout out all the early members here who are now probably in a similar boat. Appreciate you guys being here for more than a year. And of course, your support does go a long way here. Again, I'm just doing this by myself on stream here, showing my work here every day, trying to add value as best I can with stuff like the news items I'm hitting the beginning of the videos now. But please hit the like button, subscribe, and hit that join button for $4.99 down below. You get my team reviews, 10 team reviews a month for me if you want them. And of course, my rankings updated weekly and a VIP Discord, which is popping off. People asking Trey Tucker questions. We just get to debate Trey Tucker. But lots of things in there. Really, honestly, a fun time. Talk some shit in there too, perhaps. Go ahead, hit the join button down below if you want access. Go check it out. This team got to be the winner right here. We can only dream. We can only dream. But I would think the winner, I mean, not necessarily. You could not have a ton of value and just have a really nice team built at late August, and it's perfectly okay. Do you think the winner, though, in my mind, if you're going to proclaim one in July, it's got to be a lot of ADP value, a lot of guys coming together, and then really nice correlation for week 16 and 17 on top of that. Of course, in addition to stacking. That's what I think you could say, like, this team looks like the winner. I appreciate it. I think the team looks like okay so far. Perfectly okay. Definitely seems like KC wants to find a pass catching back. It does. It does. A little bit of intent. That said, they still didn't bring back McKinnon. So I think they want to see it out of Pacheco, or they want somebody else to pop up and do it. I don't think it's going to be Deneric Prince. Don't think it's going to be CEH. They already know what they have in both those guys for the most part. So really your risk is Kadarius Toney. And if that's your risk, a guy who probably is not going to be able to pass protect, or, if he does pass protect, he's got to learn how to do it. He's got the body type to be able to do it. He hasn't done it well historically as a receiver. Maybe there is a way there Pacheco just gets the pass game roll anyway. That'd be the hope. But you're right. It's not great signal. Definitely not great signal. Apparently still can't figure out the Discord from it. Yeah, you just have to sync your YouTube account to your Discord. So if there's like a thing in your profile settings, I have it in the description if you don't know how to do it, but it's pretty simple. And Chunk, I feel like you're young enough that you don't get the boomer excuse that one of the older guys here might get. So you got to figure it out. This is your demo, the Discord gang. Discord gang, raise up. I don't know if anybody's ever said Discord gang raise up before, but there's a first time for everything. Of course, some of the data you see on the screen, along with my rankings, comes courtesy of Best Ball Overlay. Go check that out at bestballoverlay.com, especially if you draft your teams on a laptop. This is on Chrome, basically. It's very easy to install. You just upload your own exposures in from Underdog, the Underdog CSV they email you. You can have all this data on your screen in addition to Week 16, 17 matchups, even the point totals on DraftKings Sportsbook. So check it out, bestballoverlay.com. Use promo code SPLASH on there to get $10 off on your first month. That means getting your first month for $20 as opposed to the usual 30. And go check that out. Go support that product. Trying to do something nice for people, I think, is what they're trying to do. Obviously, they're trying to make money, but also trying to build a tool that these guys would use. And real best ball savants, enthusiasts, and Pat from the Fantasy Pound, Dog Pound, The Pound, but not to be confused with the Pound Puppies. That's where I mixed it up. Ramondre goes at 79. Mentioned yesterday Antonio Gibson on the NFI list. Kind of feels like it should benefit somebody. Maybe it's going to benefit Ramondre. But, theoretically, more opportunity going around for Kevin Harris, JaMychal Hasty in that New England backfield. Puke and Jamison Williams goes at 82. Doesn't really matter for me, but just pointing it out. Aaron Jones here at a slight discount. Jordan Addison here. We don't really need a receiver right now, obviously. Could get the opposite side of KC Pittsburgh, and I think that makes the most sense here. I'm good on Aaron Jones for right now. Don't mind to share Najee Harris. Come on down, Najee. RB2, Najee Harris, 5 receivers, 1 more pick coming up, and we've got some optionality as to what to do. All right, so I did the correlation with KC Pittsburgh. Could have also done Arizona for an opposite correlation for Puka Nacua. Could have done Las Vegas for an opposite correlation for Chris Olave. I like the James Conner bet. I think the James Conner bet comes up, barring injury, over the next few weeks. So I'm going to go James Conner here. So 3 RBs in the top 100, 5 receivers in the top 65 picks. We have Isaiah Pacheco, Najee Harris, James Conner as our RBs. Puka Nacua, Chris Olave, Stephon Diggs, Calvin Ridley, and DeAndre Hopkins. Tennessee double here. Happy with the build so far. I think that not getting a Jacksonville core piece is a little bit rough for the Tennessee double. We're going to have to bring Tank Bigsby back later on or something. Maybe Parker Washington in the 18th round if I want to get weird. Oh, that went down the wrong way. Nothing better than hacking up a lung briefly on camera. Okay. Water. Healed. Team, though. Team right now, I think tight end hitting that soon, given that we're pretty established at RB, would be nice. Not really sure what RB I would... Well, I mean, what tight end I would want to take in if Njoku's gone. Pretty dry period of tight end. So we're probably going to push tight end around. Receiver, I'd prefer not to hit for a little bit. But I'm happy with the start. Feels like I've hit pockets well for draft capital, if not for correlation. I guess that's how I feel about it, though. We did get 2 correlations on that last round. Borderline RB picky. Getting 5 receivers in the top 100, in the top 65. You got to dial away a little bit after that. Brenton Strange, if you want to get real strange for the Jags. He did catch 2 touchdowns in practice yesterday. Did see that. He would look really good in the analytics that I look at from SIS, from Sports Info Solutions. So I'm not terribly surprised. Just the pathway to him getting on the field when you are a late draft pick at tight end is pretty hard. And with Ingram there especially, like that's a really good tight end. So hard for him to get on the field, but maybe you get some red zone touchdowns. Would you say the Justin Watson injury, if serious, makes Hardman, Tony draftable, and Chief stacks? Probably just increases the Marquise Brown downfield route tree. Maybe a shot you get Justin Watson out there, but not Justin Watson, excuse me. The other Justin, who I don't draft at all. I don't think it would impact Tony and Hardman. Who am I fucking thinking of? I never fucking draft the guy. Who's the other Justin on the Chiefs? Justin Ross. That's it. Justin Ross, usually a bust pick in my mind, just because people have had this hard on for him. He actually might be a guy that benefits from Justin Watson being gone. But I think it's mostly Marquise Brown going from, 35 to 40 routes a game to 40 to 50 routes would be more how you move that projection. But yeah, Watson to me was going to be an afterthought this year anyway. The different route tree. Watson is the downfield guy. Tony and McCole Hardman are like the pre-snap motion kind of short route guys. Did we see the Ertz coach speak that he's not there to be a coach? There wasn't really anything that crazy. Adam, I think he's trying to get under my skin with the Ertz stuff, but it's that he's there to play. He's not there to be a coach, which is what you'd expect. he's still an old guy who has had a hard time staying on the field. Ultimately, it would be great to see Ben Sinnott ahead of him right now, but that wasn't necessarily the expectation, I think. I think he should be in the mix more than it seems right now, but Ertz is fine. Still wouldn't draft him. Oh, yeah, Nico Remigio does probably benefit a little bit as well. It's a good point. Forgot that he's there. Yeah, Justin Ross, actually, forget the Ross thing. I think Remigio's had enough of a good camp, enough signal that he's probably the main beneficiary. So good. I was right to forget Justin Ross. I walk it back, end up more correct for it. Big discount on Cortland Sutton here. Tyjae Spears would increase the Tennessee bet, which I also do like given the situation. Just don't need receiver enough at this point. Not opposed to Cortland Sutton, 10 picks after ADP. But I guess old neutralizer here can do it. He takes everything away from me. Takes Marvin Harrison Jr., Cortland Sutton, who I didn't really want. All right, so we have Tennessee stuff. Khalil Shakir, would like to up my exposure on him, but I don't know if this is the team to do it on. Caleb, no correlation. Unstack Trevor Lawrence for the Jacksonville, Tennessee correlation. I guess this is just the time to get a share of Khalil Shakir. I just don't like Dallas Goedert unstacked enough with no Dallas correlation either for week 17. I'll push tight end further. So no QB yet, no tight ends yet, but a nice 0-4-6-0 build besides that. We've got Isaiah Pacheco, Najee Harris correlating for week 17. James Conner, Tyjae Spears, both correlated in some way for this team. Puka Nacua, Chris Olave, Stephon Diggs, Calvin Ridley, DeAndre Hopkins, that premium Tennessee double, and Khalil Shakir. I think a lot of people, if Will Levis does hit, if Tennessee does hit, I think there's going to be a lot of one of Ridley and Hopkins with Levis and not a lot of both with Levis, if I had to guess. Because I think people take one and they're like later on, they go, fuck, I need a QB. Will Levis is here. But for this build, I'm building intentionally a Will Levis stack. Unfortunately, not with Jacksonville. But I think that feels pretty good. So happy with the team. Just got to stick QB and tight end, which can be elusive sometimes. Talked about this in the beginning of the show. So I would say for if you guys come in late, I do think the beginning of the show now, the first couple rounds are going to be important to skip back to because I do talk about all the news items. And if you're a paying member of like fucking alphas, you can also see the news items, I guess, on the Discord. I put up my document I'm going to have for preseason updates ongoing. But point being for Kendra, talked about in the beginning, it's not great getting the injury and then also bad coach speak. It's kind of a double whammy for how the ADP should move. So if I had to guess, he should probably go into like the late 140s, maybe. Let's see, what's his current ADP right now? Oh, he's already at late 140s. So he might be going to Kamani Vidal range or worse. I don't know that he's a worse play than Kamani Vidal. But I think his floor, people overreacting to the news, because there isn't a ton of news to overreact to. He might go to the 160s. So really bad CLV if you were heavying up on Kendra Miller before. Ray Davis, 60-yard touchdown in practice today. I am team Ray Davis. I had to bump him down last week because the markets moved him down. But I've got 16% Ray Davis. He's apparently the power back the Bills have been craving. I didn't put them in the news items because it felt more like reporter speak than it was an actual team thing. But apparently they view Ty Johnson as like the backup to James Cook. And they view Ray Davis as the power back they've been looking for, who's also still going to be in the mix for some pass game work. So Ray Davis in his URB build looks good. I've been taking him for a while. I've thought he's a better player than Kamani Vidal and then had to back down off of it because the markets didn't agree. Seems like the markets need to flip and go Ray Davis. 23% Ray. There you go. Hate 3 QB, 3 tight end builds. It's a lot of capital to waste the onesies, but it depends obviously what you're doing at the other positions. You know, it's all relative. If you have it made by taking a bunch of receivers early, RBs early enough, it's only logical that you put more capital at the positions you neglected. So that's just the draft capital bucket stuff that's got to be a core of everything you do in these drafts. Chunk having a hard time. Fucking made the Discord. Oh, okay. 2 separate YouTube accounts has ruined me. There you go. Yeah, it's got to be your primary YouTube account that you're subbed on. But you got it. You're in there now. Took you, like, you've been a member for like 6 months. It took you a while, but now you can get some more of the value thrown your way. Are we doing Ray Davis victory laps? 16% Ray, 4% Cook. See, I'm not just a biased UGA homer. Look, Cook's not a bad play. Like, Cook is still, in the catbird seat to be the one leading the backfield. It's just a matter of, like, how many goal line touches. Is Ray Davis now Latavius Murray last year with extra juice? I kind of think he is. So if that's the case, I'm happy to take him a lot more than I did Damian Harris last year. And I took a lot of Damian Harris. So the play works. The play works. Especially if they realize, like, probably don't want to run Josh Allen at the goal line quite as much this year either. We have a 0-4-6-0 build. I'm not a big fan of this player, but with the build we have and the need we have at tight end, I think Pat Freiermuth right now is a logical pick. So Pat Freiermuth, come on down. Right at ADP, basically. Cook's TD line is 3.5. I would take the over on that. I would definitely take the over on that. That feels really low. I mean, the market's the market. Certainly a reflection. Just dropped in. Did you cover the Moss Brown coach talk? Are you adjusting at all? Talked about that yesterday a little bit more. I think it should make Brown come up a little bit more, Moss come down a little bit more, but they're still the same play. It's an ambiguous backfield. New offensive coordinator there, new running back committee overall with not having Joe Mixon. So any bet you make is just one where, you know, you could make either side of it and it's okay. But they should probably be closer to even. Probably should be like it should be like Tyjae Spears and Tony Pollard, where those guys are flattening out. Moss and Chase Brown should also flatten out around the 100 range, 100 to 110. My bags are pretty packed on Chase Brown, so I'll keep taking them. But I would like to up the Moss side for myself. Nick Chubb, of course, not a great pick to take because of the fact that he's not cutting and running. He's just doing squats at less weight than he normally does. But he is there. We have a hero RB build. We've spent a good amount of capital at RB. We've also spent a good amount of capital at receiver. But there's just nothing here right now that we need to do. And Ford at a little bit of a discount, it's just not something I want to ever sneeze at. I think we're done at RB with this pick of Jerome Ford. Maybe want to start reaching for Charbonnet more to even that out a little bit. But Jerome Ford, to me, is still the best pick, especially when people are overreacting to Nick Chubb. So it's a 0-5-6-1 build. I think we're done at RB now. Good amount of capital at RB. Isaiah Pacheco, hero RB build. Najee Harris, James Conner, Tyjae Spears, Jerome Ford. At receiver, we have Puka Nacua, Chris Olave, Stephon Diggs, Calvin Ridley, DeAndre Hopkins, Khalil Shakir, and Pat Freiermuth as our tight end. So we need to get QB in, obviously, but we are set up for multiple late QBs. So there's nothing to do right now for that. And I'm happy to play it this way. I think this team is going to work. It's not going to have like the electric upside like a Jaden Daniels team has, or, you know, any of the late QBs, obviously, as well. But it is a team that I think, because we have a lot of late QB outs, and obviously one we particularly want with Tennessee, I think we're going to get a pretty good 3 QB build. This is looked, Jeff, 4 steps ahead of me. This looked like a 3-5-7-3 build for a while now. I think that's where we're cruising towards, perhaps. Do you dig into offensive lines when building teams, i.e. the Seahawks have a terrible offensive line? I try to be mindful of free agent additions, but there really aren't any great data sources for offensive line that I trust anymore. I know that Football Outsiders guy, Ben Robinson, I don't believe is doing it for anywhere else. And I wouldn't pay FTN money anyway because I think they're a scumbag company. Sorry to anybody who watches from FTN. We have a few friends there, or I have a few friends there who I think are lovely people. Company, though. So point being, though, nothing out there that I trust. Maybe Fantasy Points has something, but yeah, for O-line, I wouldn't overthink it too much. You know enough from win totals. You know enough from the skill position players being drafted at ADP. I wouldn't overthink it. You have enough data to consider in that process that adding another thing on is probably going to end up double counting a little bit. Offensive line scared you guys off Ravens. I just wouldn't worry. It's hard to project that stuff. Sometimes low talent, low money offensive lines come together really well because they have great coaching. Sometimes high dollar offensive lines fail because of the fact that like the high dollar guy who's coming in, like a Trent Williams type, let's say, who's good. I'm not to speak ill of him, but those guys can get banged up, can start leaving the lineup a little bit more after you spend a lot of money there. So there's really not a perfect thing. Generally, money spent at offensive line is an important thing to look at because it's a willfulness of like improving a thing. But yeah, that's the only thing I would trust. I wouldn't go much further than that. PFF grades if you really wanted to. But don't force yourself to outthink things. That's really what I would say. I was thinking Bucky's trending down, or maybe that's just the coach speaking. He really, like, the coach speaking next guy is, I think, and it's no disrespect to him, I think he does a great job or is doing the best that he can possibly do with the angle that he's got. I think he lets his biases creep in a little bit too much. Like, he's got a Rachaad White bias. I agree with the fact they are talking about wanting a well-rounded back, but it's just literal coach speak in a meeting for the team that they put on social media. got to be careful of biases in anything. And I think that he's got a bias for Rachaad White a little bit, even though he's posted Coach Speak things that are like, oh, we want shiftiness, we want elusiveness. Now he's like focusing on like, oh, they want certainty at the position and they want the guy who can do everything. And it's like he's trying to look for reasons to make his argument, which I don't think it's the best angle for him as a content creator personally. I think removing bias, like 32 beat writers, to their credit, they're trying to be personalities as well. I don't think that part's working, but I do think they're doing a good job being just reporters on a thing. And that's the value you have when you build one of these handles that aren't like your personality. It's like you're giving a service, you're giving a data point. I think that's something to keep in mind for some of these if they start getting into more of the, like, I'm personality driven. I give hot takes. I use data to make my takes, but that's sort of how that goes. All right. We're on the clock here. The Kendre fall, you can see in real time. Do need to add receivers. Do need to consider some QBs as well. And I think one of them is going to be Matthew Stafford. We have the bet with Puka Nacua. We do have the James Conner bring back. That's technically a game stack, and we can live with it. So Matthew Stafford off the board for me to get one QB done. And we'll see what we do with the next one. Shout out Dwayne for the Canadian money. I appreciate it. I appreciate your loonies and toonies as much as I appreciate our dollars. Thank you for that. Appreciate you being here, Dwayne. I think, Dwayne, you're the DraftKings one, right? You're the one who, or I feel like you can't play an underdog. Am I correct about that? The underdog's in Canada, isn't it? I don't know enough about our Canadian underdog relations. PFF grades are gross to me. I think they make you overthink things a lot. I mean, that's why to me, like the EPA stuff has been a godsend because I've been able to focus on one thing as a North Star and drown out a lot of the other stuff. And over the course of a couple of years, even when I was still talking about DVOA and using it from Football Outsiders, I was using EPA stuff more, and I felt like I was able to tune in on players a lot more cleanly, especially too with the college versus pro stuff, as you guys have seen, hopefully. I tend to predict that pretty well, and it's because of having a data point that allows me to have a North Star of everything. All right, Kendre does go. Might be a timeout by Neutralizer here. All right, we have Matthew Stafford as one QB. Don't think it would be crazy just to get Will Levis, given his importance to us right here. But we also could strengthen tight end, could strengthen receiver. Demario Douglas fallen for some reason. Think I would rather get Will Levis now. If I can click him. Oh, we got it. We got it. Whew. That was a close one. That would have been Demario Douglas season, which I could have lived with as a wide receiver 7. But we're going to go Will Levis here. Try to make sure we get our QBs because at this point, we need to make sure we get 3 QBs that are good in. And if Will Levis is good, but we're going to assume he's good in this build. We got Stafford, Will Levis, a QB. Big reach for Levis, but I think it's worth it with where the board is right now. Isaiah Pacheco, Najee Harris, James Conner, Tyjae Spears, Jerome Ford is our RB, so we are done at RB. Wide receiver, we have Puka Nacua, Chris Olave, Stephon Diggs, Calvin Ridley, DeAndre Hopkins, and Khalil Shakir. At tight end, Pat Freiermuth. So still need 2 tight ends there. Think we'll get him. Chika Okonkwo going the wrong way, though. He's competing now with apparently going to be in a mixed room with Josh Wiley. And Josh Wiley travels a lot with these guys. He was in Cabo with DeAndre Hopkins, with Calvin Ridley working out. Chika Okonkwo was not on that trip. I think Josh Wiley might be a bit of a thorn in the Chika Okonkwo side. So we'll see what we do later on. Almost as close as I am to splooging, seeing all the McMillan's hype and camp success. McMillan hype? I have not seen much McMillan hype. But okay. If Tyler sees McMillan hype, I'll trust him on it. I mean, Trey Palmer's not hooking up with Sidney Sweeney. We established that. So it's all fun and games for old Trey McMillan now. I said you a 4 million yen super chat, which equates to around 4 cents. Oh, that's hurtful. I mean, I would go like, wow, that must be so much money. I guess you could. It'd be a funny bit. I'd still show it on screen. But it wouldn't be helpful. We need help. We need help, that helpful, sweet money right now. So I can actually max BBM. Guys, if you're watching live or after the fact, though, please do hit that like button and subscribe. Of course, new drafts here every day, Monday to Saturday now at 11 a.m. I forgot. Drafters Saturdays, of course, coming up. So hit that like button and subscribe. Does go a long way for me, especially now I'm competing against Davis Maddox some days. Competing against Liam, I think, too. I think there's 2 streams going. So there's a lot going on right now in best ball. So if you enjoy these streams, your support does go a long way. So hit that like button and subscribe. And of course, Best Ball Overlay, check that out. And I would say if you want to really support the show, besides hitting the join button, go check out Drafters. That's honestly the fastest cash flow for me right now is drafters.com. So go use promo code SPLASH on there, get a $100 deposit match. If you enjoy BBM drafts, do you think the Drafters Million is worth your time? $15 entry fees, $500K to first place, and a lot of ways to get free entries, including just putting 10 in to give you one for free. So check it out at drafters.com. Use promo code SPLASH on there, drafters.com. We'll see if we can stick the landing here. I think it was right to grab Levis when I did. I still think, because especially when we see Deshaun Watson, Baker going, that does mean Geno as well. Does mean we're in Will Levis kind of time, state of mind for the room. Overall, though, for Will Levis, I would say it would be possible I could push him back. I wanted the safety here because I think the safety is more valuable to me than a 14th round pick. But that's sort of one thing I would say for yourself out there. You could do a little bit differently. Shout out guy Travioli, GMs to him. Josh Whalley does present a real threat for the tight end one role. Great RAS, was roommates with Levis at training camp last year. I didn't know that. Great friends off the field. Yeah, I mean, again, he was on that trip. Chig wasn't. He gets a lot of positive coach speak, a lot of positive teammates speak as well as Josh Whalley. And he's good in the video games. He was good. I did a Tennessee Titans, my player last year, whatever they call it in Madden. And I was Titans QB, and I was slinging it to old Josh Whalley quite a bit. Also, Chig. Chig and I had a great rapport. But Josh Whalley, I mean, look, Josh Whalley, hard to argue. I think he's in the mix. Don't know that I would draft him, but maybe you could draft him based on camp reports. All right, so we're on the clock here. Do need a second tight end and probably a third. I feel like I have too much Cade Otton. Do need more at receiver as well. It is a pretty big fall for Adam Thielen. Not the biggest Adam Thielen fan, but 17 picks after ADP. Why not? Wide receiver 7. I think that's okay. Let's see what we do with this next pick. Neutralized might have left the room and this is timing out, I think. Drafter, I hardly know her. Thank you. Thank you for that one. You got to pull your collar when you say jokes like that, like a vintage Rodney Dangerfield joke. He's going to time out on Troy Franklin. Timeout on Troy Franklin. We love when the guy leaves the room and doesn't hit the plane. Or he's still in the room and he's just not able to collect the pick in time. Great fun. Adam Thielen wet in my shorts. Great. We're at a good point in the stream. Love when the clock ticks down this much at the turn. The bad news here is that Adam Thielen would have made sense with Cade Otton, but I think he's going to time out on Cade Otton now, unfortunately. Time's out on Cade Otton. I will take Isaiah Likely as a little bring back for our Houston bet on Stephon Diggs. Get another tight end here. Obviously, better contingent value for him. And he should still be okay in 12 personnel, which is an attempt for Todd Monken and the Ravens this year to get more of it in the mix. So team so far is a 2-5-7-2. We have Stafford, Levis, Isaiah Pacheco, Najee Harris, James Conner, Tyjae Spears, Jerome Ford. Wide receiver, we have Puka Nacua, Chris Olave, Stephon Diggs, Calvin Ridley, DeAndre Hopkins, Khalil Shakir, and Adam Thielen. And Pat Freiermuth and Isaiah Likely. There's definitely an obvious QB tight end that I would like to take in the 17th, 18th round. I don't know if they're going to both be there, though, for where we're picking. So that'll be the point to sweat out. You might be able to guess if you know late players I like and how this build is currently set up, which pairing I would like it to be, but I'll keep it quiet for now. I got no respect over here. I feel like that's the voice. It's as good of a Rodney Dangerfield impression you're going to get out of me today. Carr, Bryce Young, Parkinson finish. Oh, yeah, could do Bryce. But yeah, you got half of it. You got the part of it that I wanted. Though I wasn't thinking Parkinson, actually. I guess that would give me another out. I was thinking a Carr. I'll just say it. I was thinking a Carr, Juwan Johnson out would be the move. To get the New Orleans double. No Vegas bring back, though. We'll see what we get back. Chig's still going at 189. Kind of think Chig has to pay a little bit of an ADP tax for the fact they're talking about rotating Josh Whalley in. He can go 17th round. I think it'd be okay. That was more Robert Loggia. We're really going deep for references today, but I do know Robert Loggia. I feel like I know that from Family Guy. I don't actually know anything about his work, who he is. I assume an actor. Sam Morrill has a great Rodney impression. Oh, I'm sorry I don't have a good enough one. I'm sorry Sam Morrill's better than me. So I didn't prepare. I didn't practice my Rodney Dangerfield. Not workshopping these. Ben set it down to 192. Juwan Johnson goes 193 here, so that does rule out one of our tight end outs. Parkinson out, still there, though, for correlation with Matthew Stafford. So that angle gets more viable by the pick here. See what Billy Clevy does. Got some usernames, I feel like when you say them out loud as somebody hosting a stream, they just don't roll off the tongue. And I feel like Billy Clevy. Like, Billy Clevy is not it. Derek Carr, what does this fucker have? Please tell me you have Rashid Shaheed. Please tell me you have Rashid Shaheed. He's got nothing, but he did need a second QB. So no Derek Carr, no Bryce Young. This is going to be a 2 QB build, not by choice. Tough fucking scene. Not being able to get Derek Carr in the 17th reliably is really going to fuck up my endgame strategy. Derek Carr for free in these drafts feels really good. Like the old dude from Christmas Vacation. Okay, look, the voice could sound like a lot of things. I think using the voice as a Rorschach test for whatever you want is fine. I think a lot of my voices end up sounding similar to that, though. It's like a little gruff. Hey, what gruff? Like we have a fox puppet for Luca. His name is like Frank the Fox. There's like a tag on it that has his name. And I've turned Frank the Fox to a union working fox. So he sounds like that. He's like, hey, I work for the union, etc. Clocking out early, huh? Like those kind of things. Except with an actual puppet on my hand and not just not just me doing this. Deneric Prince in the 17th round, a reflection of where we are as a society. At this point, I can increase my bet at receiver. I guess. I mean, Russell Wilson is here. We do have the Pittsburgh bet. Is Justin Fields still here? I think Russ holds on to the job. I'm going to take Russ here. QB3, Russell Wilson. Not where I wanted to be in my life, but we do have a double stack for Pittsburgh. And I figure the Colby Parkinson market won't be too competitive, so we can snag him in the 18th if we want. Morning news is fire. The good content keeps you coming back. Appreciate that, Kendrick. Thank you for that. I'm trying to do more here. Trying to make it, now that we have some more stuff to talk about, I'll try to keep it clean for you guys and put that in the intro every day. And of course, your likes, subscribes go a long way as well if you enjoy the content here. Competing against more people than ever because it's that time in best ball season. So hit that like button, subscribe. You take Colby Parkinson? Which... This fucking guy... He's been timing out for fucking 15 rounds, and he takes Colby Parkinson? Jesus Christ, man. What a fucking world. What? Well, we need a third tight end still. Hayden Hurst, I mean, is that an auto draft? But that can't be an auto draft. Maybe he's auto drafting off of rankings. Makes no sense. There have been good reports for Gesicki. I think he'd be okay here. I guess we have a week 16 correlation with Jelani Woods. The Gesicki hype is enough. I don't have a share of Gesicki, as you can see on the screen. We'll take Mike Gesicki here now that Colby Parkinson, the one time Colby Parkinson goes in the 17th round, of course, is by the guy who also took Marvin Harrison away from me, seemingly unintentionally. Final team here is a 3-5-7-3. We got Matthew Stafford, Will Levis, Russell Wilson as our 3 QBs. So the Russ part of it doesn't make me feel good, but we had the bet on Pittsburgh. Just make the bet. Isaiah Pacheco, Najee Harris, James Conner, Tyjae Spears, Jerome Ford. Wide receiver, we have Puka Nacua, Chris Olave, Stephon Diggs, the Tennessee double of Calvin Ridley and DeAndre Hopkins. Khalil Shakir, Adam Thielen. Could have maybe put one more receiver on, but we didn't have enough capital at tight end or QB to make that work. Pat Freiermuth, Isaiah Likely, Mike Gesicki. Mike Gesicki unstacked, uncorrelated. Not normally what I'd want to do, but Colby Parkinson had to go get sniffed away. Why are we talking about Josh Oliver? Sometimes I miss things in chat, and I got no idea. Anyway, guys, that is going to be our draft for today. If you enjoyed this one, please hit that like button and subscribe down below. It does go a long way here for me as a solo proprietor trying to compete against every channel in the world at the same time. Help me out here. Hit the like, subscribe, and leave a comment if you're watching after the fact as well. I always do reply to those. Go check out Underdog. Promo code SPLASH on there. If you're not drafting an Underdog yet, I'm surprised, but go check it out. Promo code SPLASH on there gets you up to $250 in bonus cash on Underdog, so check that out. Drafters as well. If you're playing on Underdog and you haven't played on Drafters, great time to check it out. No pods there, no playoff pods, so a big luck component that drives people nuts. Don't have to worry about that at all. 17 weeks, total points, full point PPR, and $50 entry fees to win $500K to first place. So check it out, drafters.com. Use the promo code SPLASH on there for a $100 deposit match and to support the show. Probably's my baby, probably.com. Learn more there. Use promo code SPLASH to get 50% off and a 7-day free trial. And of course, the Best Ball Overlay guys do a great job too. You can see me use the data on the screen. It helps me break ties a lot now that I'm more than half of my drafts done in BBM. So can do the same for you. bestballoverlay.com. Promo code SPLASH to get $10 off your first month. Thank you to all the fine folks who've joined the channel. You too can be on this list by hitting that join button down below for $4.99. And of course, gamble responsibly, guys. I'll be back tomorrow with more. So, hey, 11 a.m. every day. Tomorrow I'll be back doing it. Maybe a doubleheader. We'll find out. I'll see you guys then, though. Enjoy your days. Thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out. And good luck. Bye-bye.